So I'm gonna try to keep it down. We got people sleeping in the house, so I'm gonna. Um, so this is something I've seen, and I think I definitely meant to do something on it. It was one of those things where I just kind of seen this, and I had the thought like, not only is this like a continuation, but like, just far as my contribution to the community, that I thought, I think is worth looking at in this way. Um, but so I'm just gonna try to get through it quickly, and from the looks of it, these kind of lessons I think would be pretty easy to get through. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. And maybe kind of discuss whenever, kind of put my input whenever I see fit. Of course, this is the Pornhub Literacy 101. They've been putting on a couple of campaigns. Okay. Sorry, I'm just a little conscientious because I try to do this. Um, like it's like my microphone, my computer would like do a weird thing and then my microphone would cut off. So I'm just like really cautious. Anyway, so I'm just gonna try to get through this quickly because um, from the looks of it, there's not I don't know if it's like a lot, but they're in the okay. So yeah, it's like five, four, five, 6 lessons. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get through them as quickly as I can. So these are videos that um kind of my kind of purgatory thing. Not putting out stuff. It was like stuff that just kind of flew past my face, and when I saw them, I was like, okay, so this is in the back of my mind. I knew that if I countered them or it'd come up in mind that I'd probably want to do these. And there's a lot of context going into these things, or at least what I would suspect with, especially with the new, well, I guess the refocusing of the Pornhub community following the controversy. Not necessarily that that's the reason, but like because with Pornhub being um, I suppose it has a larger um, acknowledgement in the mainstream. So, which this is why I said that I wish I had like a more in-depth understanding of the way Pornhub in the way that the community operates post and following the controversy because um, before we got controversy stuff, you had Pornhub, I think, really um, engaging with the much larger conversation about um, pornography. And you had people, you had bringing at least I'm remembering like celebrities coming in. I think they did like a like a fundraiser thing for people. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like I would hear, you know what I'm saying? I would hear things the about the company outside of the scope of it, of people engaging with it for pleasurable purposes. So, like as a business. So, it's very much in that. I guess it's very much within in um, the way that they handle their businesses before and after the controversy. Like it makes sense that they would put out something like this. I mean, based on what I'm seeing, it's like it goes along with the refocusing of the business now that so much of their content has been taken off the platform. Um, so, like And here's what I really want. Like, I don't necessarily see it like from the looks of it. Like the first upload, just like in terms of dates. Um, Let me see. I just want to get okay. So yeah, so it's like it says like 1 month, 1 month at the recording of this. So the first video anyway. I don't know how the other ones follow, but it seems like um, I mean, you would have to do production, and then the idea has to be there, and they've already kind of done all the steps, like a bunch of steps, in terms of trying to rectify the controversy. Even though I've pointed out that this is a situation that other platforms have had, just because of it being not because it's porn, but just societal's perspective of pornography. And because it's like sex is like the central sort of focus, um, and it has like a centralized kind of like it's we'll get into it. I want to get through as much as I can because so this is the way I'm pretty sure this is gonna go. So I want to get through these, but I feel like I'm not gonna interject during. I'm gonna watch, and then I'll probably say something afterwards, or we'll probably get to the next thing if something comes up. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through the first one before that. I'm conscious of shit, so I'm gonna see if my microphone's working and then or functioning, and we'll get started. So okay, so all right, lesson one. What is Pornhub? So let me go ahead and open that. I'm gonna count myself down. 3, 2, 1, and start. Okay. Oh, hold on. Advertisement, but like I have see. I'm okay. Hold on. Come on. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and 3, 2, 1, and start.
Hi, I'm Pornhub Aria, and I'm so pleased to explain to you how Pornhub works, as well as what you can expect from Pornhub as a brand. Pornhub is a content streaming platform which operates a lot like YouTube. All the content you see on the site comes from authorized partners or verified uploaders of our model community. That means Pornhub doesn't produce any content of its own. None of what you see on the website is made by Pornhub. Instead, Pornhub is creator-focused. Creators can use the platform to monetize their own content, advertise personal brands, and even make ad revenue from video views.
The videos featured on Pornhub are only allowed from verified uploaders like me and authorized content partners. Pornhub's verification process involves submitting an uploader's ID and undergoing a true likeness process by a trusted third-party ID verification provider to ensure that the uploader is an adult. Limiting video uploads to only verified uploaders helps to keep the platform safe and free from unwanted content.
So besides having verified uploaders, how else does Pornhub keep users safe and free of bad content?
Pornhub has a lot of technology in place to identify and prevent illegal and unwanted content, including advanced industry-standard technical tools that scan every piece of content uploaded to Pornhub before they go live. These technologies include highly regarded, best-in-class tools to identify child sexual abuse material, non-consensual content, and other potentially abusive material. Content which is not matched by any tools is then reviewed by a human moderator before it can go live on the site. We believe the Pornhub has set a standard for the adult industry for video sharing platforms. Pornhub also has a dedicated trust and safety team that develops and maintains safety policies and works closely with several global organizations. This team monitors and reviews Pornhub's policies to increase safety and efficacy, as well as to ensure compliance with legislative and regulatory changes around the world.
Global organizations? So you're saying there are a lot of dedicated safety organizations that Pornhub works with?
Yes. In addition to the organizations whose tools they use, Pornhub has many partnerships and is always working to form new partnerships with trusted global organizations who are experts in this child safety space in reducing non-consensual content and identifying hate speech, among others. Pornhub also maintains a Trusted Flagger program, which empowers more than 40 of these leading nonprofit organizations to alert the platform of content they think may violate the site's terms of service. We have lots more information about this in our Trust and Safety Center.
Violations include non-consensual material, including revenge porn or anything recorded or posted without consent, any material involving minors, and any material which is illegal or harmful. Making a safe space for content creators and their community is made possible through a commitment to Pornhub's core values: consent, freedom of expression, sexual and otherwise, authenticity, originality, and diversity. The site is also RTA compliant as rated by the Association of Sites Advocating Child Protection. This means that if you enable standard content filtering built into operating systems and search engines, or have additional parental controls on your child's device, Pornhub will be inaccessible. Pornhub is strictly reserved for those of legal age.
So, this is stuff we've heard. This is kind of if the theme of this kind of forward phase is transparency, then this is just like Mark II to that kind of wavelength is providing transparency to, for this, not only for for the sake of with the controversy, but just also like I said, this is so with so much of their content being taken off of the platform, which at some point was, it operated kind of like your traditional or your normal, all being more popular, or at least on being one of the most popular to being the most mainstream as far as in compared to other porn tube sites, where it's a creator. At first, it was like a creator and kind of fan alike, platform for the fans, but for your everyday folk who want to upload things, and for creators. So it was like a creator and fan alike sort of platform. Very much. I like, so when the mention of similar to YouTube, that was like, okay, it's interesting that they compare it to YouTube, because they both share similar histories, with Pornhub now kind of being another example of what kind of happened with YouTube. YouTube started off as, initially as kind of a sharing site. It was kind of really Hufflepuff territory. It was very much an even playing field, and you had rises in different fields of thought, and eventually it was like the platform revolved around, at least in popularity, of certain things. So yeah, that happened, but level playing field. And then with corporations moving in, certain, whatever kind of movements going on, and there's kind of less liberation, well, maybe more oversight, and thus a sense of less liberation, I guess. I mean, you also have, like, what's my sense is, it may be in terms of what's popular, and not so much that it's hard to tell, like with what policy, but like very much, I think I think this follows with, they have a very similar history, and that they started off as one thing, and then with more oversight and with more controversy. You have things like Gamergate with YouTube. You also have a lot of conversations going, and there is almost a point like you have like a Hufflepuff territory with kind of an even playing field, and with popularity, popularity, with popular topics and popular bases, conversational bases with something like a YouTube. You have things like you guys remember the Stefan Ma news and you remember the the whole conversation about like white genocide. And you got like there was a point. You also have like anti-feminism stuff going on, and there was like this whole pool of different, but they were like hinging on very ambitious, but like ambitious in that we're going to stir up the pot. Not that it's not happening, but more of in a certain direction. And with this kind of additional thing, which now is more kind of a Gryffindor, very much into doing the right thing. And there's always going to be kind of with culture. It's every culture is a cult. So with culture, there's going to be a bit of social containment. There's going to be some cutoff. There's a trade-off in some of what's considered appropriate, what isn't, and it's not necessarily that it's not as simple as these things are against policies. More of there are things that are against policies that maybe not that weren't against policies, but like what comes with that also the social sort of ramifications of certain things uploaded and certain subject matters. So like you just have pools of popularity, and it's just the pendulum kind of swings here and there, and so that's what you got going, with the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter movement, and with Pornhub, that was specific in that you had that his piece that came out, which influenced the banks, and so for that refocusing and that PR move of taking down all the and really kind of it's kind of what I've said. It's sort of in what they pretty much what everyone kind of it's just what it is. It's become more of a creator forward kind of community. But it's still interesting that in the comparison, what I also realized is not only the things are similar, but the differences. Like when we're talking about something like a porn, like a YouTube or like Facebook and Twitter, these are platforms that have a large audience because you're not limited, or rather, not from necessarily what it is, but like the way society interacts with pornography, in that there is this like central, kind of almost like a niche incentive, which is they go to this thing for sexual pleasure, and especially with it being about sex, and so there's going to be limitations of who's the audience, who's this for, and what we're doing. Porn being like a place where people are going to discuss it in the way that like someone will go to a YouTube or to a Twitter and interact like that. It's like while Pornhub is kind of doing what pornography historically has done through having to react to or be kind of taken the kind of the blunt of controversies, like porn, sex related stuff. Not necessarily porn. Sex is the thing that porn is. It is. That's what ultimately. But porn is just a medium, direction. That's about sex, but sex is the thing that drove the internet. Um, like a lot of things about the use of sex and just sort of the people, or sort of this ongoing uh, controversy about the people who either are in it, so sex workers or porn producers, they're always seen as kind of fodder, and they're always kind of, you know, for some reason I don't know what it is, but like with porn and like music, I mean, porn. is leading the charge as far as including music in terms of like free media. It's also leading the charge in like it could be leading the charge as far as the social media stuff. It's interesting that the issue that Pornhub had with oversight is an issue again the other platforms were having actually have more of an issue with that. Well, obviously because of the um, how much audience that Twitter is going to have, and so there's because of more people in virtue, there's going to be a lot more opportunity, um, a lot more controversial entropy going into those sites, and it's still of its infancy, and infancy not in terms of not necessarily in that we're not there with the technology so much of we're not really sure how to handle that sort of influx or in entropy like that all that information coming in and all those people interacting with those sites, and so there is still that in us still being in that in that infancy, still being in that place where we're still kind of figuring things out. Pornhub kind of gets the shit end of the stick. They are they're the ones who are kind of outed as if they were doing that there was something super egregious that wasn't, you know. And again, a thing that a lot of people end up doing is they conflate porn with the sex industry. The sex industry isn't porn. The sex industry um, is well, porn is a media direction in terms of not only um, the direct incentive of what we're doing, which is sexual pleasure, but just the direction of what we're doing with the media. So the focus is being sex, but the sex porn isn't. The sex porn is just it's a broad thing. There's so much that goes into it. Sex industry is um, porn is only a it's almost like a genre of the sex industry. It's not what the sex industry is. But people kind of conflate porn and they bring up they say porn as if porn is just like um in itself is just associated with all these egregious or things that are seen as egregious things. However, these things are not the same. And it's the same thing with these sort of platforms like, Twitter is people would that were uploading the things that we're uploading on Pornhub, we're also uploading on Twitter, also uploading on Facebook. But it seems like because of the subject matter, it was just, and again, the history, especially with these religious groups, and the reaction that the banks had and their actions to or response to platforms like Pornhub. I mean, granted, there's still tube sites. That's still a thing, but it's almost like Pornhub was just made. It was like made an example of a thing that other platforms haven't. It's just that because the subject matter, it's like it was just easy to just throw them. It's like throwing them under the bus of a much larger issue. And again, this comes down both into the religious influence on people or the religious feelings toward people who do sex work or people who just enjoy sex, and it's interesting. So with this kind of direction, this kind of transparency, I guess PR, even though it's more like a transparency phase that they've kind of done. So because we've seen all this before, we just haven't seen it in this format, or they're just doing something with it and creating kind of an art out of it. So, and this is something we've seen before. Pornhub is still kind of doing a lot. I'm always seeing things. I think the last thing was they had that survey thing, and then they did that. Um, the remastering of all that, I guess we'll call it vintage pornography, um, kind of obsolete camera work of pornography. So, anyway, I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm not gonna. All right, so that was two. Okay, so they got. I'm also noticing the view count and the comments. They got 6 comments here. So that's another thing. Like this both serves not only as transparency for the audiences, people who care, but just like to get it out there. Like it's all great stuff. So let's go ahead and go with lesson 2. So Asia. Is it Asia Akira? I think her name is. Lesson two. How does Pornhub support its community? Okay, so three, two, one, and start. It's gonna go to advertisement. No.
I was interested to learn, and you may be as well, that Pornhub has a philanthropic arm called Pornhub Cares, which is focused on charitable contributions through financial support, as well as awareness building campaigns for different global initiatives. Since 2015, Pornhub Cares has engaged with a range of causes, from environmental concerns to health and wellness, and has even contributed towards scholarships and academic research on sex and sexuality. Here to tell us more about Pornhub's community and education initiatives is Asa Akira.
At Pornhub's Sexual Wellness Center, you can find real talk about sex from those who know it best. Porn does not often represent everyday sex, but rather fantasies and role play by consenting amateurs and professionals. However, it can help people to explore their own sexuality and diverse sexual preferences. The goal of the Sexual Wellness Center is to provide users with access to in-depth information and advice on love, sexuality, and health, as well as the latest in sexuality research, additional resources to healthy and secure approaches to various kinks, and more unconventional sexual practices. The site is updated with new information and answers to your questions several times per week. Pornhub also supports the sex worker activist community by working with several well-established sex worker organizations such as Pineapple Support, a mental health and support network for members of the adult industry, the Sex Workers Outreach Project, which provides support for sex workers of all kinds, and many other smaller organizations worldwide.
How does the Pornhub community work?
So glad you asked that. One way you can get involved in the Pornhub community is by setting up your user profile. This allows you to engage with others in the community by sending messages and posting comments on videos. As you watch and like content through your user profile, Pornhub's algorithm will adapt to your preferences and suggest new content you might enjoy. To set up your profile, just go to the Pornhub homepage and click Sign Up on the top right corner, and you'll be guided through the process.
Uh, so two things. So there's been I was gonna say influx, but there's been more additions. There's been additions to the site. Um, I think between before the controversy, after controversy, there's been, especially after the controversy with the transparency stuff. And just I think this is why I'm sure the wellness stuff was already so again, this is reiterating in a different way through this medium, what is there, just kind of a way for people to understand it, or an easy way for people to kind of, but also for in contributing to their transparency. So yeah. um Also, I'm gonna re I'm what I was saying about the whole, the way that people treat this community, the way people go about their use of pornography versus something like YouTube or like a Twitter, and the way they engage with it. Um, I would imagine because people use it, it's not. It's a quite actually. This is more of a question if they're even that concerned about people. There are going to have fans that do make comments and all that stuff, but overall, people are going to engage with. I wonder if this uh, these segments are promoted not just on the site, but obviously promoted outside of the site. I know they got people at like the Daily Beast online news thing, and then you have like xbiz.com, which is also kind of a news outlet, online news outlet, very pro sex, so I wonder if they have people doing promotions over in those places. I'm sure they are. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's all good. This is just more transparency, things that you may not know, but this stuff is available. If you weren't sure. So going through uh, transparency stuff. I wonder if they're. I'm sure they will. Let me go ahead and just get to the third lesson. Okay. Let me go to the. So lesson three: how does Pornhub support models? Okay, so it's community, now the models. All right. We got three comments at the point of recording this, 706 views. Okay. Okay. Three, two, one, and start. Start.
Pornhub has a support team which is available 24/7 to assist all users, including customers and models with general inquiries, as well as to help with their model program, content removal, bug issues on the website, and verification issues. Who better to explain how this works than Ricky Johnson?
Anywhere on the Pornhub website, users can find the support and help section at the bottom of the screen. Under this title, users can click Contact Support, and an email form will automatically be generated. Users enter the email, name, support type, and in the body of the message, details regarding their issue. If you are in the model program, there's a whole separate team that provides support. The contact form for model support can be found in your toolbox once you have logged into your account. While all inquiries are addressed by the support team as quickly as possible, there's a couple things that will expedite your request. Content removal requests received to the designated CRR form are given top priority at Pornhub. This means content is suspended immediately, and a dedicated compliance team sees and addresses all content removal issues. If you have a Pornhub account and are logged in, you may also flag content, profiles, or comments which you think may be inappropriate, which will in turn be reviewed by our moderation team for appropriate action.
Sorry, I'm smiling because, well, I'm very familiar with the support. I guess customer support. We'll call it model support. Um, I'm smiling because like it's one of those things where when it comes to like model and just customer service in general, like especially online stuff, it's I'm almost the only one saying that because I think that people have different experiences with model support. Um, I feel like they have a lot of bugs and something. They're still kind of maybe I haven't had any issues in like. Well, it feels like every other video has some sort of thing, but that's just there's part of like the relationship between any sort of customer or model service and the creators or the customers. The relationship is a relationship. There's dynamics, and you have to have an understanding of what that service is like, and you can easily compare it to other services. And you also have to take into account of just how much traffic they get in that sort of department. So I think then they also have to consider like who's responding to it. I find that like once I get something going, then if it'll go and it will be somewhat steady. And again, you also have to take into account of like ranking and like I'm sure like I don't know this, but I could know, but like I'm sure the highest the rank you might get the you know I with so much going on. I mean, with especially with this like. They're experimenting with in a lot of places. They're experimenting with, and it to me it feels like experimenting because there's a lot of bugs in it. You guys ever kind of use any of that ID technology, facial technology? So, identifying faces, there's a lot of limitations in that. Just for it still kind of being something that's a bit rough. Unfortunately, it's not Pornhub's fault or anyone's fault. It's just, you know, if you facial recognition is just it's there. That's one example of other sort of things. But that's like that's getting into it. It's more once you're in, you know, you're learning about what's allowed. But also you have to take into account like Pornhub is also dealing with the banks or just from the result of the banks and the controversy and what they have to do to ensure that transparency, what they have to do to maintain a level of security, not only for themselves as the company, but for the models and the creators and the customers there. So they're it's like, I'm sure it feels like they're walking on, they're finding a stride and sticking to it, and so it doesn't feel like they're walking on eggshells. So as far as their models support, it will. I'm sure it's better in some way. I don't know. I'm smiling because I know that people have differing. You'll hear it's great, and then from others like it's terrible. It depends on who you ask. Not just with Pornhub, but just with any customer service, any sort of for the consumer, for the creator support, any support, online support. It's people have different experience. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, let's move on to the next video. So that was lesson 3. So all right, so let's go with lesson 4. Let's see here. Hope the smacking stuff, the mouth sounds aren't too annoying. All right, how does Pornhub keep its community safe? Okay, all right, so. Come on now. Three, 2, 1, and I might get an ad. And start. Start.
Staying safe on Pornhub for fans includes never giving your personal details or anything related to your banking or payment info to anyone, not attempting to solicit escorting services, and not falling for dating, mail order bride, or romance schemes. If you see any suspicious behavior, please report it promptly to the support team.
How can content creators and performers stay safe on Pornhub?
First, keep your personal information off camera. Ensure that no identifying ties to your civilian life are visible to your audience. This could be anything from family photos to mail, anything that might reveal the details of your house, even artwork that could convey your location. Use digital fingerprinting on your content to prevent copyright violations and abuse. Pornhub can help you do this too. Just reach out to the model support team. Immediately report abuse, threats, or solicitations to the Pornhub support team. I want to also add that unlike other user-generated content sharing platforms, pornographic and sexually explicit material is accepted on Pornhub. That said, all content uploaded to the platform must be legal and adhere to the Pornhub terms of service. All uploaded content is moderated and reviewed.
Pornhub takes the support of its community as well as trust and safety extremely seriously. Cybersecurity in all forms is something we should educate ourselves on, especially with platforms we use daily, whether or not they're adult-based. There are plenty of reports about the alleged dangers of watching online porn. Fears that clicking on the wrong thing will open up viruses and spam onto your devices, that you'll be vulnerable to scams, or that content you're watching is illegal. While it's important to be vigilant about your online safety, there are also many misconceptions about online porn and digital danger.
There's text and then there's subtext. Um, it still is core a sharing site. So um, yeah, that's people find out. It's like the easy way or the hard way. I think most people find out the hard way. You click on some, and all of a sudden you got 12 viruses on your computer. Like it's still a sharing site in its core. So like, it's just like heed the warning. We cannot watch for everything, and pirates are everywhere. So, especially considering that it's pornography. For some reason, pornography gets. If you've ever uploaded anything YouTube? If you upload YouTube anything, I feel like. If you want to get bot activity is very attracted to, like, my experience is like, when it comes to porn related things like conversations, anything, I feel like depending on the channel, like I feel like bot activity is a big thing. And I think it's indicative. I hope I'm using the right word, right? It's connected, or it's related, or it's very much encompassed in that whole thing of, like, don't just click on any other advertisements on this site. I mean, I've heard people say, like, when people, you watch the porn video, you got the thing in front, you got these advertisements on the side, you just assume that anything you click is good. Especially, like, I'm sure those side ads are more have more oversight, and what those things are actually. I suspect a lot of it now is just actually from the site. But man, you go, before the controversy, and it was like, you click on one of those things. I mean, if you're just kind of green to this sort of thing, I'm sure it happens less and less. But when this stuff is like pretty much kind of. Some we're just all kind of getting into. The people who remember, just be careful. I mean, a lot of people just find it the hard way. I mean, you gotta remember, you go from those, okay. So you remember those, and it's still a thing. It just isn't as, like those free tour sites. You know what I'm talking about? Them free tour site. It's like people come from the mind of that, because porn was just the internet was just this field with all this explicit sex stuff everywhere, always. And the impression you would get, or I got, if I'm messing around with the laptop, and I'm going to all these, taking a free tour because I got no money to spend. And the tube stuff, that hadn't reached it, or even when it was out there, people are very much still into the whole free tour stuff. It was just exciting that you get to see porn online. It's like, oh shit, there's porn on here everywhere. And you remember those, cause what do they call them? Those virus, those you get these. What do they used to call them things? Like when you would you click on something, and then you would get bombarded with all these different ads. You get these spams. You would get these like sporadic spams from all these different porn. Like, it feels like it could have been anything. You could have clicked on a kitty thing, and all of a sudden you got porn coming your way. You could have clicked on some kind of advertisement for a cookie or something, or something. You want to be a billionaire. You click on that thing, and all of a sudden you get like, you would literally have to just like you have to quickly get off all of them damn, like, 'cause you would have a huge number of pages up, and you would have to you would just have to quickly click, or you would have to shut down the computer. That was misrepresenting. Not really getting the language right, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and I think people kind of took it, and it was just it kind of played on that, whatever gets people to gamble, that brain that is looking for treasure, kind of, um, that curiosity, right? That kind of risky sort of behavior kind of thing. And so that's where prompt, like, man, we're far away from that. Not necessarily because it's not there, but more of like people are more wary of that, or got into the internet already kind of prompted and wary of stuff. So they know not to go or click on any other thing. But yeah, it is still heart of hearts. It's really just kind of saying, like, look, it's still the internet. It's still the Wild West, man. You pick on something, like, we can give as much oversight as we can, but people come in, like, if you're a clip creator on the platform, you've gotten comments that were like, okay, you've gotten friend requests, and you go, like, I got to the point where I'll get like a friend request or something. I'll go to their channel just to see that they're like actual content creators, not like, you can always tell based on the link they share, like, oh, they got a link, and the link, there would be a link, and it'd be like, the links that, is clearly just like a bot or something. They got, now you can tell based on the name. The name is very bot like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna move on. But yeah, that it just, a lot of things came to mind when they were talking about it. I was like, yeah, that's right. It's still we're still talking about the internet. It's a pirate land out here. Okay, so what was that? Lesson 4. So let's go ahead and get to lesson 4. Yeah. So lesson 5. Right? It was 4, right? How does Pornhub keep this community? Yeah, yeah. So lesson 4. So yeah, keeping safety. Keep your ass out of things you don't know. You don't know, don't click on. You know what I mean? That's what they're trying to say. Keep your ass out of trouble. All right. All right. For the most part, or a lot of it, we get you. All right. Lesson 5. Okay. We might get an ad here. I'm always prepared for ads. All right. 3, 2, 1, and start. Start.
The sharing of non-consensual intimate images, sometimes called revenge porn, is an issue that is taken especially seriously by Pornhub. Any content removal request that involves non-consensual images is given top priority by their trust and safety team. Pornhub has strong measures in place to ensure the safety of its community and protect the platform from unwanted content. This includes only allowing uploads from verified users and moderating all content with cutting-edge automated detection technologies and a team of human moderators. Pornhub also encourages community members to report or flag content they think might violate their terms of service through a user-friendly and confidential flagging system.
Pornhub community members can flag content, comments, and other users that they think might violate the terms of service and related guidelines of the platform. When you report something, your personal information will be kept confidential and will not be shared. Flagging and reporting content is easy. Just sign into your account, go to the content you'd like to report, and click the flag button at the bottom of the page. Select your reason for reporting, and you're good to go.
The content is immediately sent to the trust and safety team. Human moderators review the flagged content, and if it's deemed in violation of the terms of service, it's removed from the site and the associated accounts may get disabled permanently. Any piece of child sexual abuse material that is removed from the site is also immediately reported to a global network of organizations who will work with the appropriate authorities to take action. Content that Pornhub removes spans many categories listed in our terms of service, from copyright infringement to terrorism, non-consensual material, and child sexual abuse material.
In addition, Pornhub also stands against hate and inflammatory speech which spreads, incites, promotes, or justifies hatred or violence against a person or group of persons. If you believe a comment constitutes hate speech or otherwise goes against our terms of service, you can flag the comment to alert us. Bear in mind, that just because something does not suit your personal taste, that does not necessarily mean it's illegal or in violation of our terms of service. If in doubt, it's okay to flag. That's why Pornhub has a team of moderators to help review everything that gets reported.
Even with industry-leading technology and human moderators, safety on Pornhub benefits greatly from community member feedback. When you report a piece of content that you believe is in violation, you're helping to protect the Pornhub community and maintain the integrity of the platform.
Right on. Well, let me just say, Emily Willis. I mean, I'm sure those other people who've seen are also pretty prominent. Emily Willis is one of those names I've seen everywhere. I don't even think I'm sure I've seen something, but like Emily Willis, I've mentioned her on my channel before because I mixed her with somebody else, but it's like I'm familiar with Emily Willis in the way that like other people are familiar with. I don't even think I've seen. I don't know if I've seen anything like but I've heard her. I've seen her, but I haven't seen her. Like I haven't seen her in the way that like you know. But Emily Willis is just one of those names I see propped up a lot. I don't know. Is she in any sort of? I wonder if she's in any sort of mainstream thing. You know, I think the biggest, probably the biggest, probably the most famous porn stars right now. It's like Emily Willis. You also have what's her name? Oh my God, I'm gonna mess this up. The one from the Boy Meets World. You know what I'm talking about. It's not the. It, you know, like when you leave your occupation and you don't remember anyone's names when you leave, the kind of thing. It's like you exit that library and you just unless you go back to that library, go back to that place for context, you just can't. Even as I'm talking about it, just like I've mentioned this person, I haven't mentioned this person, but I make my own like PowerPoint magazine stuff, and so she's been in so many articles. She's in so many articles. She's in that. I'm looking up the Boy Meets World, the lady from Boy Meets World. I just remember her name. I hope her name's like difficult to say or just something I wouldn't even think of. Cause like in my mind I can see her name, but I don't know. Hard to tell. Redhead lady. She was in Boy Meets World. In I think my favorite seasons, like what's like the last seasons of it, where they kind of gone from. I don't know if she was introduced in like high school or college. I know she was like in where they're kind of there and then in college. Let me see, Boy Meets World. I'll just say like Boy Meets World porn star, or whatever. That should prop up. But yeah, her Emily Willis and her is like probably the biggest as far as like additional like coming in as like a but. Emily Willis just by virtue of I don't think I've seen like any of her thing, but I've heard of that name so often, especially in the circles of like I'm sure she won awards and stuff like that. So like porn actress, let's say porn star, she'll come up. But she's done like I've read her. I've read articles like she also writes I think on the Daily Beast. She's done a ton of things there. Yeah, Madeline Ward. Maybe it's because I haven't said her name, but like Madeline Ward. That's the lady, the redhead lady. She's done articles for like the Daily Beast, and I think it frequently or somewhat frequently. I know she does. What is that? She does like a show. I'm not even talking. I don't know why, but anyway. I'm gonna go off top. So yeah. Anyway. So as far as the video, that again, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's more of a direct, almost the most direct thing in terms of the controversy. I mean, that's just kind of a general, especially with the internet and online culture and kind of a stance against illegal stuff that everybody. So that's just standard. It's just Yeah, sure. So let me go ahead. And, all right. So I think this is number five, lesson five. So I think we got one more, and then we'll, I guess, last minute we'll talk, and then we'll end the video. So last one. So that one was how does Pornhub keep its platform safe? This last one is the latest one is what is Pornhub stands on trust and safety. Okay, so let's get to that. Break mine. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and start. Okay, I got advertisement. Start.
Although Pornhub safeguards are designed to catch unwanted content before it's ever made live on the site, the attempted uploading of non-consensual material is a problem that all user-generated platforms have the responsibility of properly mitigating. Pornhub has a zero-tolerance policy for abusive and illegal content, period. Content removal requests, or CRRs as we call them, are an important part of how Pornhub maintains a safe community. Non-consensual content is taken especially seriously, and any content removal request is given top priority by the Trust and Safety team. A CRR results in immediate and automatic suspension of the material and puts you in direct, rapid contact with the team and is typically addressed within 6 hours or less. If you or someone you know has been the victim of revenge porn or have first-hand knowledge that content violates our non-consensual policies, fill out our CRR ASAP. The link to the CRR form can be found on the footer of every page on the Pornhub site at the content removal link under support and help, or pornhub.com/content-removal. There is a zero-tolerance policy for non-consensual content on Pornhub. Not only will uploading it get you banned from the platform, Pornhub will add a digital fingerprint to the content to help prevent and identify it from being uploaded again.
Okay. Anybody ever heard of Sharp? Oh. Hope it's not too annoying when I take it off and put it on. You guys ever heard of Sharp military? I'm getting that like this is the format. This is like okay. So the last one's like addressing. This is our stance against this sort of like behavior against it, and this one's like this is what you do. If you see this stuff, so very much like Sharp military kind of thing. What is that? What does it mean? I've been to so many Sharp meetings in the military, but let me get a hey, stop. Okay, clicked on something. Sharp. I'm gonna just say Sharp military. But yeah, just kind of more of the yeah. This is like they said. This is something that other platforms are. This is everybody's thing. Sharp stands for Sexual Harassment / Assault Response and Prevention. Sharp military. So yeah, this is just integration of protection policies and what you do when you see this sort of behavior among to you or among others, and that everyone is kind of involved in that. So yeah, this is just the same kind of thing we've heard, and yeah, very very important. This is it's just this is something that everyone's kind of doing. So yeah, this is again transparency stuff. Let me just go ahead and say like the production. I like the production and all that stuff. Um, a lot of the stuff they've done post pre controversy stuff, and maybe I shouldn't harp too much on it because it's done. So yeah, we're moving on. So let's go. We're moving. So this is just a phase in that direction. So yeah. So that concludes those videos. Um, I think I've said everything I wanted to say. Uh, I wonder if this is like maintenance, but also you got acquisition. So this is my question for like this is probably something I asked of my discussion of the sex couple 1703 channel, kind of putting out there in that video, but also just in general that maintenance versus or in also with acquisition. Sex couple 1703. They want to maintain a home, but they also want an acquisition. They also want making money and um, gaining popularity. There's an ambition not only for their place on the platform, but in with each other and enjoying each other's company and all that stuff. And with the company itself, I mean, this is also maintenance in that we create something here, we want to maintain it, but Pornhub also wants to acquisition. I imagine, especially with something like this. I mean, I'm not gonna. Maybe I shouldn't overblow the discussion as far as like the production put toward this thing. I mean, obviously its purpose is transparent, but as it's supposed to be, but also like I wonder what if any acquisitions that they have. Like what would they like? What the people at MindGeek? I wonder what the direction they want to go. Um, like, is their whole thing is like they want to maintain, but they also want to clear up things, and they want to maintaining, gaining trust from not only the from the public, but they also want to be included in terms of creating an acceptance of pornography, a more expansive in interaction. Do they want to be? They mentioned YouTube. They want to be very much like YouTube in that this is very much the porn equivalent to YouTube, but very much and so they want to maintain that reputation. It is they do have that reputation, but I wonder what their acquisition is. Like, I wonder what they want to do with this platform, if anything. Generally, like, just get bigger, or do they want to acquire other things? Like, are they looking into? Because, like, let's look at before. Like, we don't have. Let's say, if the controversy didn't just land on them, and it was something that we agree this is something that everyone's dealing with, but it didn't just because of the banks and because. All right. Anyway, so I'm curious about what their direction is. Sorry, I have people in the house, so anyway, um, um, I wonder what their direction. What kind of acquisitions do they want to acquire as they're going forward? Because if we're looking at the state of the site of the company, and before this controversy, or at least the result of the controversy, they had celebrity doing like um, taking directing occupations. Um, you had discussions like, you guys remember? Am I? Was it like it was like a? I don't know. If it was like a fever dream. Remember like how Will Smith's daughter wanted to be like a director at some point. Like, um, you know, like um, and I think just from the fact that Pornhub is just becoming so much more. I mean, it is a part of why the controversy happened in such a direct line. I mean, you of course had the issue with its popularity and the way that people use it, but obviously, I mean, again, I have to reiterate this is something that other people are doing, and of course, you have personal stories coming out, so I don't want to take that away from them. But again, to reiterate, this is something that other people were. So I pretty much like edit the video, so there's like a space, so I'm trying to like I don't even know what I was saying. Um, whatever whatever the acquisition, okay. Um, uh, I'm just gonna yeah. Um, what was I saying? I even editing the video, I'm like, well, I think I was just like just saying that like with MindGeek and whatever whatever the rise is or the um, maintaining is that um, I was just curious. I'm just curious. I'm curious about whatever that looks like. So just questioning. Anyway, um, I'm a go. John Turbo Black Laws Media, and thank you.